One of the most important things to consider when buying or selling a home is the home's location. I mean, let's think about it. You can change a lot of things about a home to make it more desirable and add value to it. But one thing you can't change is the location. So it is definitely an important thing to consider. And there's a lot of things that it can affect the value and even the desirability of a home when considering location. So let's get into it and talk about it today. Hi, my name's Deanna Bradford, and I'm a realtor with Reese Nichols Realtors Excelsior Springs, part of the Bill Hightower team. First, let's just talk about personal preference. Different people are going to value different things when it comes to the location of a property. For instance, some people would prefer to live in the city, in certain areas of the city, near all the amenities they could be near. Maybe they're looking to be close to public transportation or parks and walkways. Those are the kinds of things that might be important to some people, while others might prefer to be in the suburbs or in a more rural community on acreage, even further out and away. Considering what is important to you is going to help you narrow down what location you prefer to be in. Other things to consider are school districts. A lot of people will want to have their children in particular school districts and can look at the location based on that. Another thing to consider are homeowners association. If you are in a subdivision that has one, does it have an expense to it? Is that important to you? Those can be a monthly fee or sometimes a yearly fee. Some homeowners associations don't charge anything, or they have not, maybe they used to at one point and no longer do, because they may have something to offer that might be appealing to you to be in that location. Some neighborhood associations may offer amenities like a pool or clubhouse or golf course nearby that you can be a member of. Some may have maintenance provided. So if you want to make sure that the snow is shoveled or the grass is cut on a regular basis by the homeowners association, that's one less thing that you have to worry about. That could be a preference for some and not others. So again, just things to consider when you're looking at the location of where you want to be. Another thing to consider is homes in different types of locations can affect the value of those homes. Generally, homes in urban or in the city areas are going to be more expensive than homes in the more rural areas because of the demand for living within the city. And even in those neighborhoods within that city, you're going to have pockets of neighborhoods that are more valuable than other neighborhoods. That come down to different factors, but a lot of times it's just the location of where it is in comparison to maybe certain amenities or the schools, or it could be just the care and the maintenance that has been upheld in a certain neighborhood compared to others, where you have a neighborhood that's more worn down and the homes aren't as well maintained. That's probably going to be a lesser valued neighborhood. As you get in the more rural areas, you'll even see differences in value from town to town. So I know for our area, you have Kearney, Missouri is their homes are more expensive than they are here in Excelsior Springs. And then you have Lawson and you have Richmond. Richmond's even less expensive than here or in Lawson. So there's a variety of values and they may be very similar, but you can still look at those different areas and see a difference in the cost of the homes in those different neighborhoods. And then even within those rural towns, you're still going to see those pockets and neighborhoods that this area of Excelsior is more expensive than this area simply because of where its location is in relation to the amenities in that town or the schools or the parks and walkways, just the more desirable locations, or even compared to those that are in maybe the more lower lying areas that might be affected by flooding or have worn out buildings nearby and abandoned buildings nearby. Those are going to bring down the value of homes in those neighborhoods. So there's a variety of things to see and consider when you're looking at location and how it affects the value of those properties. And I'll say that's why it's important to work with not just any realtor, but a local realtor who knows those neighborhoods, who knows those areas, because they're going to know what areas are more valuable, what areas are more expensive. When you talk to that realtor about what's important to you, as far as your preferences and even the affordability of what kind of home you're looking for, they can show you what kind of home you're going to get based on the location, what it'll cost you, and based on what your preferences are, where you should go. Other things to consider when talking about the location of a property are hazards and things in those areas that can affect the value of the home. For example, homes located near power lines could have a lower value because of health concerns due to the electromagnetic fields in the area. Other things to consider are flood zones that might have a higher risk of flooding problems, as well as just insurability. It can be harder and more expensive to insure a home in a flood zone. And a few other factors would be homes near major highways, airports, and noisy commercial areas can draw that value of the property down because of that becoming a less desirable area that people don't want to live in. Another thing to consider are even train tracks. There's a lot of areas in this rural community that there are train tracks with trains that run regularly through those areas, and homes that sit right up on those tracks could be less desirable, and that could affect the value compared to homes that are further away and not so close. I'm not saying that these homes are unable to be sold and have no value, but when you compare them to homes in other areas, it might make sense why one home might be worth more than another based on location and the things surrounding that home in those areas. So I hope that makes sense. And one last thing I want to talk about concerning location are just some statistics that I found that I just thought were interesting, that these kind of small things that can affect the value. It just, again, shows how location is important and matters when it comes to the value of a property. So I'm going to look at the screen and read these statistics to you. So don't mind as I look away for a minute. But according to a study by Zillow, homes located within a quarter mile of a Starbucks coffee shop have seen an average appreciation of 96% over a 10-year period, compared to 65% for homes outside of that radius, just for living close to a Starbucks coffee shop. Crazy, right? And here's one more. Additionally, homes located in walkable neighborhoods have seen an average appreciation of 69% compared to 46% for homes in more car-dependent areas, because they can't just get out and walk to local conveniences because they're too far away. So that can also factor into the value of a property. I just want to talk one more time about why, again, it's important when you're looking for a property or going to sell a property to work with a trusted realtor and a local realtor who knows the area. Because again, they're going to know the values. They're going to know the different areas, what to expect for value in the different neighborhoods, in the different towns, and even those things that might affect the value and the desirability of your home. Those, like the hazards we talked about, like a flood zone or the rundown buildings nearby, things like that that might affect. They can help you understand the value of your home and why that value is the right value for your home based on things like that. They can also show you the data because, again, we are working in this business every day and we have access to data of what homes are selling for currently and what they have sold for recently, in down to the neighborhood, down to the street, or broader view from city to city. So you can see what to expect when you're looking in different towns, areas, communities. I hope that this information has been helpful and that it has made you think about your situation and what might be best for you. If you need some advice or some help, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Please leave them in the comments below. Like this video if you did find it helpful so that I know what kind of videos to make going forward. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time I put a new video out, which is every week. So you don't want to miss all the educational videos and even our community spotlights that I put out once a month, highlighting a local small business. I'm really having fun doing those, and I hope you're enjoying them too. Thanks again for joining me today, and have a blessed day.